Imagine standing at the edge of a high cliff. You look down, and the world feels miles away. Your heart races, your palms sweat, and you feel that familiar knot in your stomach. Just a few feet ahead, people jump fearlessly, laughing as they dive into the water below. And yet, here you stand, paralyzed. Everyone, at some point, faces that one fear. Whether it's heights, public speaking, or the fear of failure, these fears hold us back in more ways than we realize. But what if I told you there's a way to face your biggest fear, a way to turn what terrifies you into something that empowers you today? We're going to explore not just why we have fears, but how to confront and conquer them step by step. And don't worry, I'm not here to tell you to just be brave or ignore your fear. Today, we're diving deeper. First, let us break it down. Fear is, at its core, our brain's response to a perceived threat. But that doesn't always mean the threat is real. In a famous study at Harvard, researchers found that fear triggers the same biological responses whether you're facing a life or death situation or just speaking in public. Your heart rate spikes, adrenaline kicks in, and your brain's fight or flight response goes into overdrive. Recognizing that your fear might be exaggerated is key. When you realize that fear is a signal, not a guarantee of danger, you can start to manage it. So the first step: understand and accept that your fear is real but might not be rational. Next, try to visualize. Olympic athletes do this all the time. By imagining themselves successfully completing an event, they can actually improve their performance. Visualization works because our brains can't easily distinguish between a vivid imagined experience and a real one. Take a moment to picture yourself facing your fear, whatever it is. See yourself going through the experience step by step. Imagine not just surviving it, but thriving. You might feel silly at first, but this practice is a game changer. If your biggest fear seems overwhelming, break it down. If you're afraid of heights, don't start by skydiving. Start by standing on a balcony or going up a few floors in a building. Small wins add up. With each small step, your brain starts associating that experience with something manageable. Over time, you build up confidence, making the next step just a little easier. There's a powerful psychological tool called exposure therapy. It's all about confronting your fear in safe, controlled environments. Over time, this repeated exposure actually rewires your brain, reducing your anxiety response. If you're terrified of public speaking, start by speaking in front of just a friend or recording yourself. Gradually, work up to a few people, then maybe a small group. You're not expected to conquer your fear overnight, it's a gradual process, and that's okay. Sometimes, we get so caught up in what could go wrong that we forget to think about what could go right. Studies show that focusing on positive outcomes actually reduces fear. So, instead of thinking, "What if I fail?" try thinking, "What will I gain if I succeed?" This shift in mindset can help reframe your approach to any fear. Remember, fear is universal. Whether it's the CEO of a Fortune 500 company or your next-door neighbor, everyone deals with some kind of fear. Knowing you're not alone can make facing your own fears feel a lot less isolating. Share your fears with friends or a community. You'd be surprised how much support is out there when you open up. Sometimes, hearing how others have conquered similar fears can inspire you to take that next step. In the end, fear is just a story we tell ourselves, a story that can be rewritten. Facing your biggest fear won't happen in a day. But by understanding it, visualizing success, taking small steps, using exposure, focusing on rewards, and seeking support, you can face down any fear. Remember, growth begins at the edge of your comfort zone. Facing your fear could be the first step toward a life fuller than you ever imagined. Face your fear. Live boldly.